Good morning. I have ADHD. My last update was that I was going to go on a date. I have been on the date, so we can talk about this now. But I just want to highlight this thing on the side of my head. This thing on the side of my head is an ADHD thing to just attack and pick and pull it off. Like, I feel like if I get any sort of mark or bump or insect bite on my body, I attack it. Like, I'm pinching that, getting a pair of nail clippers, ripping it. Is that an ADHD thing, or am I just a freak? Because honestly, I actually feel like it helps it. I feel like it relieves the pressure and helps it, whatever it is. I think it might be an insect bite. My dog's just failed his jump. So this date yesterday had like a proper disaster start, and you know what? Like, it's kind of my first first date with someone where I've actually really been on top of my ADHD and understanding my ADHD. So it was very much at the forefront of my mind as to how I was going to navigate and manage the first date. So like things I was making sure I was doing was like no extensive messaging before the first date. Like agree the time and just assume that the time is definitely happening. So like, you know, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, it's a coffee date where I'm getting ready to walk down to it, and then she said she was going to be late, which was funny because she said she wouldn't be late. But you know, I don't mind about that stuff, so I head down anyway, and then I'm like, right, well, I'm not just going to sit and look at my phone and think about when she's coming. I'll just go there, and when she shows up, she shows. So it's like, yeah, there's no point in overthinking. She'll show up when she shows up. That's fine. So I get down there, and time's going by, and I'm kind of looking about. I'm like, you know what? It has been 20 minutes. I'm gonna look at my phone. Then I realise my phone's got no reception. So I have to run round the corner to get reception for my phone to see if she's messaged me. They start coming through. She said she couldn't find a parking space, asking where I was, and 2 missed calls from her as well. So my ADHD just goes into full red alert activation at this point. I'm like, oh my god. So I quickly message going, sorry, I had to get reception. I'm coming back to where we were. And then she wasn't there. And I tried to call her, and then she didn't answer. So I'm like, right, well, half an hour, 40 minutes has passed. She's not replying now. She must be annoyed with me. She must have assumed that I ditched her when it was just very unfortunate that I had no reception and probably walked away from the bit that we were meant to meet at as she was walking there. So I'm like, what do we do? So I start walking home, and then she gets back to me. And the funny thing is, like, I actually got on the defensive immediately about this. Like, I felt like if she was late and then I kind of missed her by a couple of minutes walking around the corner, I actually started to sort of critique myself and thinking that it was like an attack on me and it was a prank and things like that. But do you know what? My mindset acknowledged that I can overthink these things. It could have been an innocent mistake. And I will just send an extra polite message, just being like, look, I had no reception. I've probably just missed you because I walked around the corner to try and find some. And I think this worked out well because honestly, I think if I'd not done the week in a message, I have to try and think about their POV. They're meeting a guy for the first time. Am I messing them about? And that helped me a lot. And anyway, she messaged back saying where she was, and she thought I would just call her when I was ready, and she was just round the corner somewhere else. So we eventually met up, but later she did admit that she was a bit worried herself that perhaps I was sort of like winding her up or pranking her or something like that as well. So it just showed you we both kind of thought the same thing, but it was just complete misfortune. Anyway, so we started to obviously talk, and the initial meet of her was really good. You know, she was really nice and she seemed happy with me as well. And when we first started to talk, one of the things I have learned is to try and test the water like really early with humour and like the more darker side of your humour and like jokes and stuff like that. So I threw out a few of those. The reason I do this is because like I know that's going to come late down the line with me. I know in a few weeks and months I'm going to start to relax and my sort of spontaneous, not well thought out comments and humour are just going to come out. And if I have someone that's like sensitive or takes things personally, it's just not going to work. And I would rather get that out the way immediately for me to completely understand what kind of person they are. So all that went very, very well. I definitely can't repeat some of it. I can't repeat some of it on here. And do you know what? It was just one of those really awesome first dates. And I think it's because I'd just learned like what I'd maybe done in the past is like I would be rapidly intaking everything they were possibly saying and doing. I would become a bit of a chameleon and try and almost like morph and adapt myself into someone that they would like. But you know what, like I do have my own thoughts and opinions and traits, and this time I thought, you know, I'm going to throw it all out there. And I think it helps to be confident about doing that and realising that like if it doesn't work with that person, there is going to be another person. And you must show as much of your true self as possible, even though sometimes you can get a bit confused with ADHD and you feel like you like things but you actually don't. And I think because I've felt comfortable so fast, like I was kind of saying everything that was running through my mind, and she was really receptive to it and so funny as well actually, and throwing similar type of humour and thoughts and everything back. And as soon as you get in that mode as a neurodivergent, as soon as you're vibing off someone and the energy's flowing, like it's such an amazing place to be. You start to be able to really enjoy yourself and get lost in conversation. You know, there was periods of time I actually felt just so comfortable, even though we're out in public on a date. Because I think when you're doing the early dating experiences as a neurodivergent, it can be a bit stressful and anxious because you're sort of thinking about a lot of things. What do they think of you? You know, do other people know that you're on a first date? What's their analysis of that? And are you sitting right? How's your posture? Have you got any food in your teeth? You're thinking about so many damn things because it's someone you're trying to impress. It's not someone you're with. So you've got more things to think about when you're impressing someone. And I think as soon as you feel comfortable, and you know, and yesterday as well, you know, I was doing a bit of over analysis and trying to read her sort of body language and to know if I could make a move or not. But you know, there was a time where I sat back and she said, I sat back to explain a story, I think to sort of stretch my back a bit, and she said to me, oh no, come sit closer to me. And it was at that moment I felt that was a sign I would be able to make a move and start to sort of be a bit more intimate in terms of space and contact. So it went very, very well. So yeah, we went for like a coffee, we had a beautiful view, we were sitting chatting away side by side with each other, and then I was like, well, I mean, do you want to go a wee walk and get a beer as well? And she said yeah to that at the start. I knew it was going to go well, and you know what, I think doing this whole documenting and recording so many videos of how I think, how I feel, what I'm up to, how my mind's processing things, I think it's given me real acknowledgement of my ADHD, of my neurodivergence. I actually think this whole thing is helping me a lot at the moment, and then I'm going back and editing the videos and I'm listening to what I've said. I feel like I've got a lot of clarity. I feel like I've got a lot more understanding than normal in the last few weeks, and perhaps this is all a bit of a blessing and so well timed to entertain meeting someone new. So we're at an important stage now. We've had a first day and I need to remember everything I've learned, which is don't over talk on digital communication. You had a good time together physically, keep it that way as much as possible. This is a lot better for me. don't over message. We've agreed to see each other in a couple of days' time. That's all I need. We can talk then. We're still at the getting to know each other stage. We don't need to know what each other's up to all the time. So I'm keeping my routine going. I'm keeping my positive routine going. Health, mindset, walks with the dog. And we'll see how this goes. I will navigate this better than ever before, I feel.